Spring is here. This means that there are some big opportunities for you in your boutique. So let's talk about getting your head in the game and what kind of strategy you're going to use this spring in your boutique. Hi, if we haven't met yet, I'm Emily Benson. I'm a boutique business consultant. I've helped thousands of boutique owners just like you start, grow, and scale your boutique business. I also wrote this book called The Retail Mindset, and I know a thing or two about having a boutique business. I've been in retail for over 20 years, and I had my own boutique for a while during that time, brick and mortar and mobile. And I realized that there are a lot of mindset shifts that we need to make as women, as boutique owners, to be successful. So I cover them in this book. In this video in particular, I'm going to walk you through some really specific things that come up in spring in terms of mindset. We want to shift how you're feeling about spring so that you set yourself up to make a ton of money, make a ton of friends, and be successful in your boutique business. I've always seen, as I work with clients, the difference between the ones who have success and who it's easy and they like end up growing pretty quickly. They have a very different mindset than the ones who don't grow quickly, who worry about sales, who come from a scarcity mindset. So let me just jump right into this. And I'm going to start off by saying you may be one of the people who thinks it doesn't matter. My mindset doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I just have to have the right products. I have to post a lot. And I'm going to tell you right now, we take surveys, everyone that goes through our courses. We take a survey at the beginning. I think we've gotten over 1,000 survey responses because not everybody does it. But the most common thing we hear when we have people check, like, what do you want the most help with? Or what do you think you're fine with? They always say that they want help with the strategy or social media. Everyone always says they're fine on the mindset. I feel good. I feel totally fine. No big deal. And then by the end of the course, almost every single person is saying, I never thought the mindset stuff would change me so much. I never could have imagined that that would be what affected my business, what affected me so much out of this course. So I'm going to give you a little taste of some of the mindset shifts that I like to talk about because I don't know about anyone that's talking about this, to be honest with you. And I wanted to include it here in spring because, to be quite honest with you, we operate in a place of spring in our store, but it's still really gross outside in a lot of our country. Like literally right now, we have feet of snow where I live and we're supposed to get more, but it's like almost spring. So to me, we have a lot of internal work to do to overcome, especially if you're not a winter. I'm not a winter person. So I have especially a lot of work to overcome mindset wise in the winter. And I think that if you are online in Facebook groups or you're looking at what other boutique owners are saying, they tend to be really negative about this time of year, about January, February, March. And I don't think that's a great way to be. I think that we really need to like stop being negative because for so many people, these months can be really incredible and foundational to how the rest of the year starts to build. So when we start to think about it like that, like these months are really important for ourselves. One, to take a little break. Two, to clean out old inventory and really like start fresh for spring. And three, just like understanding that, especially if you're just starting out, you need to believe that this is for you and that you can do it. During spring, I want you to embrace the power of spring, to embrace the fresh renewal. Like do a new vision board, set some new goals, like decide that you're going to make some powerful pivots in your business so that you can get to what it is that you want. I think again, we feel like this has to be a downtime for us and it really doesn't. Part of it is, yeah, you are tired. Like the fall was really crazy. The winter was really crazy. My hope is that during January, you rested, you chilled, you got sleep, you started taking care of yourself. But here's the thing. You can't stop taking care of yourself as business gets busier. I'm in some Facebook groups, and far too often when I see a prompt or like an engagement post be like, what's the hardest thing about owning a boutique? Or what would you tell someone who's new about like things they never knew about having a boutique? What have you learned, you know? And too many responses are like, I work all the time. It's a 24/7 job. You're never off. We are not doctors. We are not first responders. We are not important in the scheme of how humanity stays alive. Okay? Let's just be really clear with that. Now, we do a lot of good work though in this world, don't we, as boutique owners? We bring the light, we bring the joy, we bring the fashion, we bring the fun, we bring the retail therapy that so many of us need, okay? So I don't want to diminish what we do, but I also do not believe that it is appropriate for anyone, especially a woman, to endorse any form of hustle culture, any form of like, we're working all the time. Like, no, We deserve to rest. We deserve time to have a life. So if your boutique business is already in that place where you're thinking these kind of thoughts, you're thinking like, I work all the time. This is a lot. Like, I'm never off. I'm going to be really honest with you, and this might hurt your feelings. That is a you problem. That is a problem you've created. That is a problem that can go away. But you first need to choose for it to go away. You first need to decide, I will not hustle. And, listen, you may have ADHD, you may be neurodivergent, you may have anxiety, whatever. That's okay. Okay? Whatever's going on in your brain, we have to figure out how to work with your brain so that it works with your boutique, not the other way around. There's no one way to run a boutique. So if the way that you're running it right now isn't working and you are working 24/7 or you do feel anxious all the time, we have to stop. We have to stop. We have to figure out what works best for you. Your brain, your life, your kids, your spouse, your school, your work, whatever. And then we have to reverse engineer it to work within the times that you can. Let's say you have 3 kids, you're working full time, and you're starting your online boutique. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be hard. Like, you're going to have to squeeze it in times. That doesn't mean you're working 24/7. What I would much rather see you do is be able to give yourself an hour a day or 2 hours, 3 days a week to get very specific things done in those time frames. Okay. Do you see where I'm saying? Instead of just like working whenever and having your phone out whenever and responding whenever, no, give yourself a schedule. This is the time to do it. Again, this is the time to set new goals, to set up what you want to do. And I think that part of the strategic conversation has to start with a mindset conversation, or it's moot. We're going nowhere. Like, I can give you the best strategy ever, and I've given people amazing strategies, and their mindset sucks. Or they get in a position where they're overthinking, or they get in a position where they feel too anxious, or whatever happens, and then they freeze, or they freak out, or like, it's just like, it's not going to work. We have to make sure that whatever you're doing works holistically within your life. Because if you're not happy having a boutique business and this is hard, don't do it. Okay. There's no point. If you're not going to be happy in your boutique business, please don't do it. Okay. Now, that's not saying that things don't get hard, that there aren't slow times, that there aren't moments where you're like, man, I could just stop doing this today and that'd be okay. You're going to have those days. Eat a good meal, drink a lot of water, and get a good night's sleep, and then decide what you're going to do. Too many of us are reactionary. We're worried about everything, and it's too much. Your mind is so powerful. I saw someone the other day talk about how she views herself as a celebrity. And that's just it. She's not at all. She's like, I don't care. I'm not at all. But it gives me a different energy about myself. It makes me treat myself differently. It makes me act differently. And that is making my energy different. And it's giving me more confidence. And I loved this. She said she went out to dinner, and on the way, she kept being like, oh, I hope no one recognizes me. I hope the paparazzi aren't there. And I was like, I love that. That's the kind of confidence we need going into this year. And spring is the best time to start to cultivate it. The best time, because that mindset will carry you through all year. Remember, confidence is not something we're born with. It's a skill that we learn and that we practice, and over time gets easier. I will once again remind you, I do not like being on camera. I do not like constantly judging myself. I can see myself right there, and but I'm doing it because I have gotten more confident doing it. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So that's the same with boutiques. If you're a year in business, you're 3 years in business, and you're not confident, we've got to fix that. You will build confidence like a muscle, but also we can train our minds to just be more confident overall. This is the time to really also, as you start to think of yourself as a celebrity, take action. It's time to just start doing things. Like, the amount of times I hear someone say, oh yeah, I'm going to send an email. Oh yeah, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start posting. Just do it. Just start. I don't care if it's the ugliest thing. If you go back to my videos from 6 months ago, someone posted on something 6 months ago, hey, this video is good, but like your audio is not great. Like, yeah, I know. I fixed my setup. We're better now, right? But that's the thing. What you first put out is not going to be good. We all know it, and that's okay. But the more reps you get, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So just do it. Send the email, post the thing, email the person, reach out to the VIP customer. I don't care what it is. I want you to just do it. Okay. My challenge to you. One of the things that I like to do when I get stressed about thinking about my long-term goals, like where am I going to be at the end of the year? That for me can feel really hard. So I try to focus on little things that I can do every day, whether that's even just editing a reel, posting something, making an adjustment to my website that makes something work easier, or researching something that I think will increase my conversion rates, or working on my copy, or working on my setups. Like all of these things compound to create something bigger. So when I feel overwhelmed about thinking about, oh my God, what am I going to do this whole year? And like, what shows am I going to go to? I don't. I think about what can I do for the next month, 2 months, and then what can I do today? What's the few things today I can do to move the needle? And I think if you're feeling really overwhelmed, like, oh, there's so much to do, I don't know where to start, like, just make a list. Slowly check things off. It doesn't have to be perfect. And as you find that like one thing ends up being 10 things, add that to your list. Like, it's okay. I've learned as I get older that things just take longer, especially when you have kids, especially when you have other responsibilities. It just might take longer. And mentally, you have to know that. You can't think, I'm falling behind, or compare yourself to someone else. Like, no way. I used to go really fast. And my friends that had children already, like, they couldn't build as quickly as I could. And now I'm in the reverse. I have friends whose kids are like in grade school and, they're gone all day. And I have someone at home all the time, or a lot of the time, who needs me and who wants me. So we're in different situations. I've had to slow down a lot. I don't want you to forget that building a boutique can be a long-term thing. You don't have to worry about the long term right now. As long as you're focused on today, moving the needle a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, it will all add up. When you talk about taking action, though, I always say that, like, when you get nervous, be of service, whether that service is to yourself or to someone else. When you are feeling like overwhelmed or anxious, for me, it's either take action, move my body, plan something, do something, or it's like slow down and take a beat because we're going too fast. Let's talk about how you can take action with any sort of this like planning that you're doing and with this mindset that you're doing. So for me, as much as I love events, I know that other people don't, and that's okay. But I want to encourage you. Whether you like to host events or not, I'm going to challenge you to at least host one event this spring. What does that mean, host an event? It could mean that you're going to go live on Facebook. It could mean that you're going to host an in-store party with drinks and discounts and food and whatever. It could also mean that you simply do a small private event for VIP customers, or for friends, or for a friend of a friend who wants to have, her friend group in. It does not have to be a huge blowout party. It doesn't have to be a huge anniversary party. But just the idea of doing something that is an event is going to change the game for you. I even would challenge you to plan an event that might help strengthen your community. Meaning, is there another business that's bigger than you or smaller than you that you could team up with? Could you go bring a rack of clothes to a hair salon one morning? Could you go to a coffee shop on a Saturday morning and have a table of jewelry? Like, where else could you be, and what else could you do to get yourself out there and get your name out there? For me, I used to joke that I didn't want to do an event unless I was going to make $600. I wouldn't do it. And now I would say that's not true. And especially if you're just starting out, that's not true. Now, that was me with like the big truck and having to take it places, because it cost me money to like just leave and go with the truck. But remember, even if you break even, let's say you decide to do a pop-up market, it costs you $300 with everything included, right? Like food and whatever you need. And you only make $400. So like you barely got paid for your time. Maybe that extra $100 paid for someone to help you, or paid for gas or whatever. I want you to see that as still growth. I want you to have the mindset that every event you do is growing your exposure. It's growing who knows about you. It's growing your ability to speak about yourself differently to a stranger, to practice your elevator pitch. Too many people think they can go to one market or do 2 or 3 things, and that's the judge of their business, and it's not. Every event and everything you do is meant to inform the next. It's meant to inform you in 2 ways. One, like, do you want to be at that event or similar things like it next time? I got invited to a ton of craft fairs when I had the truck, and I like kind of just rolled my eyes a little bit because like I didn't sell crafts. Why were people inviting me to craft shows? Why? Because they were being nice. They wanted to have the truck there because it's cool. I get it. And at the same time, like, that wasn't my market. That was not who I wanted to sell to. it also was a bummer when I didn't get into things that I wish I could have because of the truck. Like, because of the truck, I also couldn't do certain things. So remember, it doesn't matter what the event is, where you're going, how many people show up. It's the fact that you're doing it. You're getting the reps in, especially that first year, that first 2 years. You're really learning so much about yourself, about your customer, about what you can handle, right? Like, I, after 1 year, stopped doing events in July in the truck because it was too hot. Like, it would just get too hot and I would get sick. So I would pick particular events that I would do, but anything outside that, I just wouldn't do it because it was too much. Or I would say, yes, I'll bring racks into your air conditioned space. I'm happy to do that. But I think you have to be, at the beginning, you have to try anything and everything and see what pops, see what happens, especially if you have no experience doing any of this. Like, get yourself out there, see what works, see what you like. And then come fall, you can make some different decisions about fall markets or fall pop-ups, or maybe you get a brick and mortar space by fall. Like, you go at the pace that you want, go in a way that feels safe to you, but also put yourself out there so you learn. If you've gotten this far, oh my gosh, please like and subscribe. This episode, this video is part 3 of our Spring Ahead series, and it's meant to be all about mindset. How do you get yourself in that spring mindset? How do you make sure that you're using spring as a foundation to springboard off for the rest of the year, especially for fall? Thanks for listening. I hope after all of this, you're thinking a little bit differently. You're maybe a little bit more hopeful, and I've given you some ideas to start moving and start executing. If you like this video, I will politely ask you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, here's to making lots of friends and making lots of money. I'll see you on the next one.